Okay, I'm making another video. I haven't been, wow, those are really pretty marigolds outside. They're just two yellow balls. I've been telling myself that I'm gonna make another video for more content. I have been overwhelmed with the passing of my father and there's a cat in the closet and some really like ugly energy coming at me from all sides. So, something that's been on my mind lately is how obsessed I am with the Justin Baldoni and She Who Will Not Be Named case. Um, it gives me life. Okay. And it shouldn't, because what happened to Justin Baldoni is simply awful. But from the lens of karma, it was meant to be. It was destined. Apparently, this she monster um, has had years of manipulation and just verbal attacks on people, emotional attacks on people, and the individuals who abuse and bully are slippery, and that they don't do it physically. They use their mental evil powers to force control and to take charge of the narrative. Okay, so you guys probably know all about that case if you've been following it. I don't really have to go into the details. She basically manipulated the situation, right? She took control of the narrative, said he was SHing her. And she did that for a lot of layered reasons, right? She had a crush on him and her husband caught wind of it. And then her husband wanted to take control because he was jealous, and to kind of, deflect from her little crush on him, because I'm sure he has Ryan Reynolds has narcissistic personality disorder. And also, he was starting to make the she monster feel bad. So, of course, she had to spin the narrative and say, oh, it's his fault. Also, I want the movie, right? They totally took charge. They kicked Baldoni out of his own movie, essentially. At the premiere, they put him in the basement. Here's where this gives me life. I was in an 8-year relationship, 3 years dating, 5-year marriage with someone who is basically like a schmake lively. I don't like to say her name because it gives me cringe. But anyway, this individual was not physically abusive enough. Like, there were maybe 3 times where he used physical force to, like, throw me back on the couch or throw me down on the ground when I wanted to go to the Katy Perry concert and I was dressed like a slut, a sleut. Anyway, that was in our dating. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is he was slippery. And on the outside, oh my gosh, what a funny, charming, amazing man. Everybody is like, oh, that's your husband? Oh my gosh, isn't he just so funny and charming? And I, of course, had to say, isn't he though? Isn't he great? Because, the minute I was to be like, oh my gosh, you don't know what it's like behind closed doors, people, he would manipulate that and say, oh, well, she's, drinking every day and she's a garbage person. And look how much she posts on social media for attention. And he would like manipulate the narrative. So nobody, it wasn't worth it to me to continue to speak out. I did a number of times. And of course, he's like, oh, you lie, you are a trash talker or whatever, but it wasn't a lie. And so, as I'm seeing Justin Baldoni take it on the fucking chin, and the whole time he was being bullied, manipulated, and abused, he kept his cool. He kept his composure. And above everything else, he was just like, maybe Hollywood isn't for me because I really don't align with these people, their morals, their values, how they operate. And he was in a podcast with Rainn Wilson, and he said, I realized then that that I thought that's what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. And he kept his cool and he was kind through the whole thing. While my ex was, having a PI follow me around to gain evidence of me being an unfit mother so that he could fully take my kids, he started dating a lawyer. And, I will say this: at my daughter's birthday party, I drank because when I'm around my ex and his mom, they're so judgmental and just so it's like that was my comfort. And so he used that to say, "Oh, look, she's garbage." It wasn't like I was drunk. I mean, I drove children home after the party. I wasn't like a hot mess, wasted, whatever. But he used that as an example to then promote his narrative of the kind of mom I was. And then he tried to take my children full time from me. It did not work out for him. And when I said, you really owe me an apology for all of that, he said, "Oh, that we're just going to go back and forth." Basically, he was just pinning the whole situation on the fact that we just don't get along. Um, and and the reason why it's giving me life to follow this case is because after a certain amount of time, the truth started to come out about the she monster, Schmake Schlively. and and I just have this gut feeling that people are starting to catch on. He's getting like meaner, and I think that usually means, based on what I know from when I was with him, things are not going his way, because he treats me even worse when things aren't going his way. And there's so many examples I don't really need to go into. I'm gonna try to edit this time, and I would just end up cutting them out because I'm gonna try to make this a little fancier. Um, the message of this video is: if you take the high road, you really will come out on top. And the bullies, the haters, the naysayers, the people that need to put you down in order to feel exalted, better than you, just to make themselves, I guess, feel better about themselves. Um, the truth always comes out. And thank goodness Baldoni didn't react in an ugly or negative way, even though he had every right to. Every right in the world he had to say, "This is my movie, and what are you doing?" Well, he didn't. He took the high road, and you know what? He played the long game, you guys. That's what I did, and am still doing. I'm playing the long game. And intuitively, God has downloaded unto my spirit that I am going to come out on top. Like, I did have some small successes. I did have some small setbacks. All of those were really amazing learning lessons. And I truly believe that it's part of my story. Um, so on the days where I feel like a failure, I have to remember that, um, you know, when I was on the flight to Spain doing my speech for the first time, the movie that I chose to watch was Pursuit of Happiness, and the whole movie was Will Ferrell just struggling. And I had a download on that plane. God was like, "You're gonna struggle a little bit, but it'll be worth it." So yeah, my climbing the ladder has been a bit of struggle, but I do believe it's part of my story because I know I'm supposed to inspire people. And I just finished doing choreography for the dance my kids are going to learn today in the musical theater class. And I had 30 extra minutes, and God was like, "Do a video." And I was like, "No, God, I don't feel like it. People think I'm an idiot." Like, guys, I had a dream last night, and I woke up hyperventilating. And the dream was I was with some girl and we were looking at like a dry erase board and it was a lot of likes and comments about me. And she goes, "Hey, look at all those likes and comments." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." She goes, "What are you sorry for?" And then I turn over and my brother is like, "You just think you just need attention all the time and you blah blah blah." And then my ex was there like, "Yeah, she always does this. It's sick. It's sick." And I'm sorry. I'm gonna cry. I was apologizing and I was like, I'm sorry, I'll be better, I'll be better." And she goes, "No, all I was doing was pointing out what a good job you were doing." And I woke up hyperventilating because I know that a lot of my anxiety is because I let others people's opinions of me chip away at my spirit, which is why I started off strong with this channel and I backed off a little bit. There's been a lot of tragedy, but there's also a lot of bullying and judgment. And I guess I just wanted to do a long narrative, I suppose, about how the Baldoni thing gives me life and gives me hope and inspires me, and about how my own personal anxieties about the climb it takes to get to where I'm going has nothing to do with the end result that is coming. And so if you're very anxious about a choice you've made or following your path or whatever, and you know you're doing the right thing, God wants you to put that aside. Because what is that famous saying that's like, other people's opinions of you is none of your business. And that's very true. Also, Justin Baldoni gives me life. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but I hope it helps you guys. I love you all, and true spirit. Just be a good person. Make good choices. Okay.